At this point in time, some of the stuff that we seem to see a significant amount of is things like autism and chronic disease, and I'm trying to wrap my head around what's going on with that. There's lots of theories around it, but from your perspective and from Abraham's perspective, what are we trying to learn from this? How do we kind of...
Well, there are more and more non-physical energies setting forth the intent of coming into an environment where it will be less possible for them to be modified by the distorted, flawed premises of the society. They come with a more difficult to change them situation that would translate, if they could speak it, they usually can't, but if they could translate it into words, it would go something like, I know you're not comfortable with me the way I am, but I'm not going to be someone who modifies my behavior to make you comfortable, because that wouldn't be good for you. That would teach you sloppy thinking and complacency. Instead, I will be who I was born to be, new unto the world and eager about life experience, and you're going to have to adjust to me, which means you're going to have to find the compassion that only comes from your connection to source energy in order to even stand being around me. Autism is fine, but we would add some more words to it. We would call them autistic teachers, or we would call them real teachers, effective teachers, not willing to modify their behavior to please me teachers.
Mm-hmm. And along those lines, in my practice, I see a lot of mental illness, and it's an area that I look at a lot.
Can you define it for us? Mental illness meaning departure from the norm?
In the way we would kind of look at it, mental illness might fall under anything from schizophrenia or bipolar.
Esther seems to have that.
I think a lot of us do. And it has definitely been medicalized in a way, and I'm trying to look outside of
Don't
the
turn
block
her
on
in.
that. What I'm trying to understand is there a balance even within that for some of these people? For example, I might see somebody who has come to me with, for example, schizophrenia, and some of the things that I might look at might have a severe imbalance in their biochemistry in a specific way, that I find that when that biochemistry starts to get normalized, they feel more in their body. They might not necessarily lose some of the other stuff. So I'm trying to understand the balance of it.
We are advocates of balance, and so we have some questions for you. Do you acknowledge that their body and everyone else's is a veritable chemical factory?
Yes.
And does it follow for you that the chemistry of the body is all about the vibrational balance first? And so does it follow that an assisting with vibrational balance would assist with chemical balance, which leads us to the most important question that we are kind of leading you to an answer, and that is, if it is a given that they have the ability, and they do, to produce the chemicals that they need to find their balance, would you rather that they do it that way, or that you introduce it to them artificially through a trial and error, let's see how this works, sort of medical offering?
No, I absolutely would prefer that they come about it themselves.
Which do you think would be the path of least resistance to assist them in doing that? To diagnose them in a sort of freakish, this is what's wrong with you way. You think they'll find the chemical balance more easily if you point out all of the things that are wrong with them and join society in condemning their behavior and make them feel like they need to be modified in some way in order to fit in? Is that the path? Of course not. Or is the path of least resistance to be in that compassionate place where you have rendezvoused with their inner being who does not see them as flawed, who stands stubbornly in the determination that they are just fine how they are, where the only thing that you care about is not the societal acceptance of them. The only thing that you care about is how they're feeling in any moment in time. You're rooting for the way they feel, not for the way they fit in. You're rooting for the way they feel in relationship to their inner being, not the way they are accepted or not accepted by people who are too lazy to focus.
Yeah, completely agree. I think where I'm trying to understand is, say, for example, someone comes in with significant fatigue, And when I'm doing an analysis on it, I might find that they're extremely anemic. So in a situation like that, supporting their biochemistry allows them to step into the fullness of how they feel.
We talked a few days ago about understanding when it's important to do something right now. If someone's bleeding, you don't take them to a class on meditation. You stop the bleeding. And if someone is really depleted, of course it is wise to do the more bulky action thing of improving that. But all we're encouraging is that you don't only do that, that the teacher in you kicks in so that they come to understand that the depletion is first about vibrational depletion that then leads to, you see, most humans think that everything is about their action. And so when something happens, the first thing they want to do is act. And that's why the action doesn't hold very long, because even though it is a temporary remedy, you can stop the bleeding, but you can't stop them from cutting themselves again tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. And so getting at the root of what's really the imbalance, it's a vibrational root every single time. And the vibrational root is always about the connection with source energy every single time. Now, we get it, that in a physical world where you have these creeds that you have aligned with and these agreements that you have signed and this oath that you are part of, that there is resistance in your physical world to you ever really getting to the heart of what's going on. And so we're just encouraging you to segment and intend that the next logical step for you to get the most important things across can occur to you without causing you any imbalance in a world that doesn't yet understand.
So my main job is to always have basically the inner being in me seeing the inner being in them and in their totality all the time.
Don't forget about the next thing you're about to say, because it matters. But the value of you finding your inner being and your inner being knowing their inner being, the powerful value in that is that they will feel the relief from the momentary absence of resistance. When you're mad at yourself and beating up on yourself, and someone else is too, that's quite a combination. But if you, who are the expert, and in most cases they have accepted you as that, are absent of resistance and absent of fear about them, which is an indicator of resistance, and are at one with what you see as the right place, right time, really perfection of where they stand, that goes so much further than most people realize in the welling process.
I remember one story about talking about Mother Teresa and how she would have spontaneous healings happening in Calcutta. And it was the way you kind of described it before, with almost the inner being in her and her being so connected to that, seeing that's all she saw in the people that...
And you know what? She practiced being able to see it the way she felt it. She practiced that. And why? This is an important thing to understand, because most everybody who talks about her and others like her distort the story by making it about the healing rather than about the preferred alignment. It's like when you get good at that, you just do it because that's who you are and that's what you do. And since there's no regression, when you find the power of alignment, you don't forget it and you don't go back. But humans want to make it all about this one and that one and this one, and the result of the alignment, where she wasn't doing that. She just healed because she couldn't do otherwise, because she was unwilling to ever be out of alignment with who she is, or mostly. She had knee-jerk responses to things, but she knew the difference in how that felt and how that felt. So she's like Esther. Esther makes very certain that she's ready to hit this stage.
Mm-hmm.